on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Motherfucker, he's on his...
Mountain Murders is an Appalachian true crime podcast. Listener discretion is advised. The show contains graphic language and depictions of violence. It may not be suitable for all audiences.
We say fuck a lot.
And we are back. Now, Barbara would describe her husband as Jekyll and Hyde. Good Richard was generous, doting, and truly adored Barbara. At home, she kind of ruled the roost, Dylan. Whatever she said went. Like if she wanted a nicer apartment, newer furniture, anything like that, Richard would lavish her with gifts.
You reckon maybe he's overcompensating for his, like, the times he's mean to her, maybe?
Possibly. Yet bad Richard was unpredictable. He would go off like it's just like a ticking time bomb. Now, Richard would later admit that he loved Barbara so much, it was bordering on obsession, and he felt terrible every time he heard her. He always felt awful afterwards, and often couldn't look at himself in the mirror. He was so ashamed.
Well, I mean, that's great you have those feelings, Richard, and they may be genuine, but I mean, obviously, if you truly love her, then you will stop being mean to her.
I agree, Dylan, and I thought about this a lot because it's like, well, this guy's a fucking asshole and he clearly needs some help, right? He could really benefit from some medications, some prescriptions. But, I also consider it's the time period as well. And Richard doesn't really feel like what he's doing is wrong.
Well, I mean, that's a great point. Even from a societal standpoint, men discussing, maybe being heavy-handed with their woman or kids is it's accepted. It's more widely accepted in the mainstream. You're not going to get that feedback from your buddies like, oh my God, why did you do, what are you doing? And obviously, it's not the modern.
Well, right. In the mid-century, domestic violence was not a thing, if you will. It wasn't illegal.
No.
So Richard, he felt guilty about what he had done, but at the end of the day, it was like.
It's just how it is.
It was sort of commonplace, and he felt like, well, which is shitty. Now, with the big money rolling in once again, Richard couldn't help himself. He started gambling again. Easy come, easy go with this money.
Man, you need to save some of that money, Richard. What the hell?
In 1964, Richard and Barbara welcomed a daughter, Merrick. He couldn't contain his excitement. He always wanted a little girl. Richard said he never wanted sons because he felt they might compete for Barbara's attention.
Okay, that's a little weird.
He didn't feel threatened by a daughter. Merrick was Richard's pride and joy. However, she had some urinary problems, including blockages when she was born, and it caused her problems throughout childhood. Merrick spent a lot of time in the hospital, and Richard was attentive, always there with her. He would sleep on the floor in her hospital room by her bedside. He never left her side while she was in the hospital.
It's amazing that he does seem to have these genuine, really does care for his family in certain circumstances. And it's pretty amazing that he can be that cold and also be that attentive and caring. It's pretty wild.
But the medical bills stacked up, and Richard found himself in deep debt. Maybe if he wasn't gambling, wouldn't be such an issue, right? But he's just blowing money. Then their daughter Kristen was born. And later, they would add a son, Dwayne. Now, by the time their son was born, the family had all of these mounting bills, a need for a bigger house, bigger cars, and then, of course, they had, like, Merrick's medical issues, as well as just the regular daily grind, raising a family, having a family of 5 kind of thing. A big score came Richard's way in the form of Casio watches. Do you remember back in the day when, like, a Casio watch was, like, the thing to have?
Yes, I do.
It was like a Rolex or something. It was like the working man's Rolex.
Yeah, now I guess they're going Kmart or Walmart and such, right?
Yeah, you can totally find them at, like, those discount stores, like Big Lots or something.
Yeah, but before the big Swatch, started, the Swatch Everybody went crazy for that. Casio was where it was at.
Didn't they have like little calculators? You could get like little calculators and you could make yourself little reminders in them. And it was like a little computer watch. It was like very pre Apple Watch.
Oh, yeah. Spelling boob with numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a guy who offers Richard $75,000 for 100,000 Casio watches, which Richard had stolen from from a truck.
So he's got this haul, and this guy's offering him $75,000. Now, this could be the answer in the short term to handle all the debt, right?
Yep.
Because that's a large amount of money.
It's a lot. Even today, by today's standards, that was a lot of money. But back then, this was an enormous amount of money. When he arrives at the warehouse, the guy he's made this deal with wants to renegotiate.
He wanted to renege.
Yeah, I was trying to say renege and renegotiate at the same time. He offers Richard $50,000 for the watches.
Oh, that's not cool, bro.
Now, angry, Richard pulls out his gun and shoots the guy. Then he caps the 3 other witnesses present, like this man's colleagues.
Okay, now these are some interesting negotiating skills that Richard has. Just kill everybody, totally kill the deal.
No witnesses was Richard's rule. So the police wrote this off as like a mafia-related killing and never linked it to Kuklinski. Richard manages to sell the watches to a guy named Phil Solimini. This is a man who was like a part-time pimp. He sold pornography. And he and Richard would become friends. As much as Richard could have a friend, this guy was kind of like his closest friend, if you will. Phil and Richard and their wives would go out to dinner and hang out.
Now, did it say how much he got for the watches in the end?
I believe the Phil guy paid him what he wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he ended up getting his money.
What do I know about negotiating?
But he needs money, and the thought of contract killing never escaped his brain. He continued bootlegging films, and that's when he decided there was more money in porno movies.
Well, and this would be the golden age breakout of porn, right?
Yeah.
So this would be a really big deal. It would be a good way to make money.
Now, the lab where he worked processed all of the East Coast pornography because at the time, and if you've seen the HBO show The Deuce, like New York City was the hub for pornography. And now it's mostly West Coast based, Los Angeles. But at the time, throughout the 60s and 70s, New York City was where all of the adult videos, pornography, those little loops and like 8mm reels were being produced.
Yeah, and the feature-length films that were, filmed like a movie set.
Yeah. So Richard wanted his slice of the pie. Richard met a connect who was in with the Gambino crime family, and they wanted to bootleg adult movies. Now, the Gambino family at the time had a lock on all of the adult video stores, the peep show booths, adult bookstores across the United States, and those adult movie theaters.
Oh, so if they get the bootleg copies, they can feed the inventory at a steeply discounted rate into this already set up infrastructure of stores, theaters, and peep shows.
Yes.
Ooh.
So this would prove to be very lucrative for Richard.
Could you go in a peep show? Could you go in a place that I go in a porn store or whatever, or adult store, I guess it is now. I've never been in like the truly seedy, gross porn store. Just like all about porn, not even so much about toys and such. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been anywhere like that?
That was just strictly porn?
Yeah, and where all the weird guys standing around looking at the stuff and stuff.
No, I mean, I've been in like an adult store, but it was like a combination of both.
I just couldn't. I don't think I could go in no peep booth where people's doing things
but
to
I
themselves.
did read a book once, and it was called Peep Show, and it was really interesting. It was like a woman who was getting her master's degree in like sociology, decided to go work, and I want to say it was like in Seattle. It was like in the Pacific Northwest. It was like Portland or Seattle, at like a peep show booth to make money while she was going to college, and she ended up like writing her thesis and then turning it into this book called Peep Show. And it was pretty interesting because she discusses like working there, the environment, the types of women who were employed that were choosing this work, her encounters with some of the clients, like after she would leave work. I mean, just it was a very interesting book.
Ooh.
But it just seems really grimy and sticky, and I don't think I would want to be part of it. It seems really gross.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Richard was still hijacking trucks, and during one robbery of televisions, Richard paid a guy $500 to store the stolen rig in his Pennsylvania barn. He was going to come back in a few days. He needed to find a buyer for these television sets. So a few days later, Richard and his associates show up to collect the truck and find it is gone.
Well, you done fucked up, dude.
The farmer claimed he had no idea what had happened to the rig. Now, Richard's not going to let this aggression stand, man.
No, I mean, this guy, even if he's telling the truth, he's in trouble.
He begins a slow and painful torture process, holding a flare to the man's bare feet.
Jesus.
Now, he burns the flesh until bone was showing through the guy's foot.
God, you know how hot a flare burns? A magnesium flare?
I don't want to think about it.
It is like, I don't, thousands and thousands of degrees, man. Jesus, I could not imagine that coming in contact with my skin.
Well, the farmer still refused to tell Richard where the truck had gone.
Or did he not know, or was he just some tough old bird?
It was only after Richard burned the man's genitals that the guy confesses the truck is down the road at a friend's farm. And Richard's like, dude, why didn't you just tell me that? Like, you subjected yourself to all of this torture for what? Now you walking around with burnt balls, like your balls done burned off.
Man, that's gonna burn your balls off, bro.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Your
sure
balls
it
not.
did.
They're not gonna recover from that.
Well, when I was doing research, Dylan, there was a time I came in and you were kind of like hanging out in the living room or something, and I was like, I have to take a break because there's just too much like ball torture with this Kuklinski story.
Is this where you were at in your research?
Oh no, there's more ball torture, but this one I felt like we should talk about because it seems very prolific.
Jesus.
This is some prolific ball torture.
I mean, who the fuck's gonna try to go that hard to where you're just burning the bottom out of my foot and it's like, I ain't seen nothing. I don't know what you mean, Richard.
Yeah. Well, the two men planned, and this is a guy who's got the farm and then his buddy down the road. These two men had planned to sell the televisions themselves, the farmer explained. And he told Richard he really needed money to pay for his girlfriend's abortion.
Well, that is not a noble effort at all. I mean, if it was to save the family farm or, help my sick wife, you'd
Well,
be
Richard's like, I gave you $500
Yeah.
to store the truck.
surely that will cover an abortion back then.
Yeah, how much does it cost? Well, anyway, Richard finds the man down the road, who, of course, denies any knowledge of the truck scam. Richard pistol whips the guy until he gives up the truck's location. So once Richard gets the truck back, he kills both men. With a huge haul from the television sales, Richard buys a house in western New York. Things are looking up for the Kuklinskis. They have a car. I believe Richard bought a Cadillac. They have a really nice house, and Richard loves spoiling his family. He showers Barbara with minks and jewels. His kids are all enrolled in private schools per Barbara's demands. He's taken his kids out with their friends, movies, popcorn, roller skating, just, whatever you want. Here, let's get you 2 of those. The best of the best.
Once he got back in the contract kill, well, it started, he was doing criminal things before, hijackings, the bootlegging and such. But once he gets back all the way into it, it's like his family, there's just money everywhere. There's always plenty of money. We've moved up. They're the Jeffersons now. They're, living in the big house. And I wonder if they ever think this is too much money for what he supposedly does for a living.
Well, that's the thing. Richard's family never asks about his business.
Well, I guess
they don't ask what he's doing. Barbara knows better than to ask. And to be honest, she probably doesn't really give a fuck because she resents him. She doesn't really like her husband. So she's just happy when he's gone working because that means it's like a stable home life for the kids.
Well, that's a good point. And he doesn't seem like the type of man you sit down and question when he gets back about what he's been doing.
Definitely not.
Okay.
And she knew better. So she's just assuming whatever his business is, I'm not going to ask. It's keeping the lights on.
Yeah, the fancy lights.
Yeah. The rich people lights, Dylan.
That's when you got like extra lights or when you just got like lights for no reason that actually don't illuminate anything.
So I'm just imagining if Dylan was ever rich, he's just going to have a room full of lamps and he's going to like have it all wired so he turns a switch, like a flip switch, and it's just like lights up the whole room. And Dylan's like, yeah, I've made it.
Just let them burn.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever you want with that thermostat. I don't care.
Yeah.
The back door's open.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Rich people don't.
We have a fan that's blowing the good air outside. Okay, that's what level we're on.
We have an air conditioner turned around the opposite way so that it just blows cold air outside because Dylan's rich, bitch.
That's right.
Now, Richard is still busting ass at the film lab, working all night making those copies. The other employees, who are union guys, begin complaining that Richard is taking away their hours because he's not a union guy.
So he's getting their hours or maybe pushing over into their overtime. They're not going to have that. Now, it's interesting to me, Richard's making these big licks, these huge amounts on these hijackings of the trucks and things, but he's still, it's like he has to get every dime he can, but he's still doing the bootleg
But
thing.
because this money comes in and goes out. I mean, he's still got all these big bills, and he's trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, with this big house, and you got the upper middle class suburban lifestyle he's trying to maintain. He's still got all these bills. His daughter's still got all these health problems, and then he still has a terrible gambling habit.
Oh, and I guess his bootlegging thing now with the porn, with the Gambino family and stuff, it's turned into a fairly profitable venture, I'm sure, and he's just not going to stop. He's going to do... That just seems rather labor intensive, like it takes a lot of time.
It does. And with these union guys complaining, they finally get a union rep to pay Richard a visit. This is like a big burly dude.
Yeah, and he's a union guy, and he's used to kind of, this is old school unions.
Oh, yeah.
Where they have thugs, too.
Well, this guy thinks he can muscle Richard.
They
right?
crack heads. They intimidate as well, not just the company.
Oh, right. So after they have a verbal altercation, which does not end well because Richard hits the guy and kills him. Like, basically punches him and kills the guy.
What the fuck? Does
can't-
Richard have superpowers?
He can't have this kind of heat. So Richard takes this man to a park and hangs him from a tree. So it looks like a suicide.
Yeah, this dude punched himself to death, dude.
Now, the police rule it as a homicide, but they blame it on the Irish Westie gang out of Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, that's where the body was found in that territory? Or they had some kind of altercation with the union?
Well, I think there were some issues maybe between this gang and the union and the location of the body. So for some reason, they kind of, put two and two together. They think this is the deal. So again, Richard escapes any link to the murder.
Besides the at least a handful of people who know that they, got that union rep to go talk to Richard the last time they seen him.
Well, that's the thing. People do know.
It's like they know around the edges, like regular people know, hey, something's not right
But they
here.
don't suspect Richard.
Jesus.
They think the guy's left and, something bad happened on his way or whatever. So Richard hasn't spoken to his brother in a few years. If you recall, Richard saw his younger brother Joseph at a gay bar with a trans woman.
So the last time he saw him, Joseph, it was in a bathroom stall, and he beat up Joseph and the trans woman, rather severely sounding, and never spoke to him again.
I don't know if he beat them up, but he basically was like, "What the fuck," and left.
Okay.
Okay,
I thought he struck him with a pistol.
I don't
I could be wrong.
think that happened. But
I
I've slept since last week, so now you're just making shit up.
Well, dude, I assumed he did. He's harmed and killed and beat like every fucking body that comes around him.
No, I don't believe that he beat his brother. I'm pretty sure he just was disgusted and left.
Okay.
So he hadn't spoken to his brother since that incident. It had been a few years. Now, on September 16th of 1970, a dog named Lady, belonging to a 12-year-old Pamela Dial, is barking incessantly. The dog has a broken leg. It's about 12:30 a.m. when neighbors just can't take it anymore and go out to investigate. Now, about an hour and a half earlier, around 11 p.m., young Pamela had left her family's home on Central Avenue to look for the dog. Pamela and Lady were inseparable. Everyone in this neighborhood recalled that when you would see this little girl, you would see the dog. It was like Mary and her little lamb. The dog just followed this little girl everywhere she went. It was like her little best friend. She goes out to find her. Now, while she's out searching for the dog, Pamela bumps into 25-year-old Joseph Kuklinski. She knows him from around the way, and she thinks he's kind of cute. Like, he has this sort of cowboy quality about him, you know? She's flattered when Joseph asks her if she wants to be alone with him.
Wait a second. Isn't she 12?
She's 12.
Jesus.
Joseph leads her up 4 floors to the roof of an apartment building on Central Avenue. Now, by now, she's found Lady, and she brings the dog along. They're up on the roof. Joseph is drunk, and he tries to have sex with Pamela. But again, she's a little girl. She's frightened. She doesn't really understand what he's trying to do.
Right.
She starts to get scared.
It's fucking disgusting.
In an attempt to get away, the little girl's trying to run or whatever. Joseph snatches up the girl. He ends up sodomizing her and choking her to death. Now, Lady, the dog, is barking and going nuts, you know, because her owner is being harmed. So, in a panic, Joseph drops Pamela's body off the roof. He then catches the dog and tosses Lady over the side of the building as well. So, the dog is at the bottom on the concrete with broken legs, but the poor thing manages to crawl over to Pamela's lifeless body.
Oh, my God.
Soon, the neighbors hear the whining and barking, and that's when Pamela's body is discovered. It doesn't take long for police to question Joseph Kuklinski, because they're questioning everyone who lives on this block.
And if the little girl, poor Pamela, is not the only person to have seen Joseph in the area. So, you know, okay. So they're just asking.
He lives in this neighborhood. They're interviewing everyone they know. There are witnesses who are like, well, I saw her out. She was looking for the dog. A couple people had seen Joseph walking down the street. So police finally make their way to interview him, and he gives police a full confession.
Okay.
When Richard hears that his brother has been arrested for murder, he is bowled over. He makes his way to the jail to speak with his brother directly. Now, once Joseph confesses every detail of the crime, Richard is furious. When he asks, "Why did you do this?" Joseph says, "Because she wanted it."
Yeah, see, Richard doesn't harm, you know, he's not going to harm children or women. And all this violence, you know, he stays away from that. Mm-hmm. And so now he's in this strange position with his brother, right? If there's been some asshole at a bar or some guy who this and that or some whatever, Richard wouldn't care. I think he would support his brother if he could and help him out. If it's just some guy, some asshole he killed. But the fact that he harmed and killed this 12-year-old girl, I don't think Richard knows how to process that.
No, Richard is mad as hell. He gets up, leaves, never speaks to his brother again. Now, years later, the pair will end up serving time in the same prison, Trenton State Prison, and Richard will never acknowledge Joseph, that it's his brother, walks by him in prison, won't even fucking look at him.
Damn.
Cold. Hates his brother. Joseph was given a life sentence. So, as far as I know, he's still serving that sentence in New Jersey.
Good.
Now, with bootlegging movies, Richard is doing okay, but he needs more money. Even when he's doing well, he spends money like crazy, continues gambling. He will lose thousands of dollars playing Baccarat. That's his favorite game. That's when he decides it is time to get back into quote-unquote special work.
The wet work.
So he spreads word. That sounds like you're hiring somebody to pee on you.
No, it's wet work.
So he spreads word around Jersey City and Hoboken that he's available. He's like, "Hello there, I'm Richard Kuklinski. I'm available for parties, galas."
So you're saying if you answered an ad in the paper for some wet work, which is, you know, the darkest black ops, you know, just grimiest kind of killing and murder.
Sounds like a golden shower.
You're going to show up with a fucking super gulp talking about, "I'm ready, show me where he's at," and just go in there and start pissing on everything.
Yeah.
Talking about, "I'm going to be the best wet worker you ever hired."
Exactly.
Okay.
It's going to be a motherfucking slip and slide up in here.
Ooh.
Right. So his mafia connects tells him, you know, there's way more money in porn than in killing.
Is he sure?
Yeah. Well, that's his mafia friends are like, "Man, you know, you can go back to contract killing, but I'm telling you, like, this porn business is where
controlling
it's at.
all the nuts and bolts of it.
Like,
and
porn is
skimming
where
off
it's at. You're going to
Okay.
make way more money." So he kind of begins doing this wholesale kind of gig with porn, like consignment. So he will get the porn and he will give it to these mobsters and their people, and they will sell it, and then they pay Richard like once they sell it.
Okay.
Right? So he makes a deal with these guys to do this pornography stuff, but he starts taking their money and producing his own porn.
Richard's doing this?
Yes.
Oh.
So they kind of loan Richard money. They're like, "Hey man, if you can get us this porn, and then we'll front you the money. You get us the porn, and then we're gonna wholesale it, and we're gonna make our money back, and we're gonna pay. We're gonna pay you. So all you got to do is pay us back the money we loan you." I mean, it's kind of a more complicated story, but I could literally do like a 6-part series on Kuklinski, so I'm just trying to condense it down. So he's doing this wholesale thing, and he takes their money that he's supposed to be getting this bootleg porn, and he starts producing his own porn because Richard views the adult movies strictly as a moneymaker. What's really interesting about Kuklinski is that sexually, he's a prude.
Well, I was wondering, given what little you had talked about that, as far as the way he feels about that, how he would deal with that. The fact he's in porn.
Oh, he's not interested in the porn at all. He doesn't like it. He actually thinks it's pretty gross.
He just wants the money, and this is the vehicle to get to that money.
Exactly. He's not interested in porn. He doesn't want to watch it. He's a faithful husband. He never cheats on Barbara. He's a very loyal. He takes his vows seriously. I mean, that's what's so interesting about him, is that despite the fact that he is a horrible person, he still has these certain, morals, this morality code that he sticks to.
That's interesting. The mob never misses a business opportunity. And they're actually visionaries in a way when they see this new opportunity come up. And it's almost like they can tell that it's going to be huge, like porn. And I can only imagine now, in this day and age, what the fragments of the mob left over, what they're into. I'm sure it's like sports betting online.
Oh, yeah, it's stuff like
hackers, shit like that, cryptocurrency, stealing. I mean, they always evolve with the time.
They're kind of ahead of the curve with a lot of
this
stuff.
They are ahead of the curve because they're so, they never miss an opportunity to, see the future of something.
So like I said, Richard thinks these films are disgusting. However, he does find girl-on-girl action kind of hot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people find that kind of hot. I'm not saying that I do. Because you're the only... I don't watch porn anymore. And that's true. I'm not kidding right now.
I know, you've told me that.
And do you think it's true?
I mean, you're kind of lazy, so probably.
Whoa,
I think you're just obsessed with TikTok.
Well, hold up, dude. Like, I can't just lay there and turn some porn on. It's not hard to get to.
Yeah, but you're like, You're not, because then that would require you to do, like, other things. And you're kind of lazy.
Wait a
I
second.
just don't imagine that.
I can reach my dick if that's what you're alluding to.
Yeah, but I feel like you're just too lazy. Are we really getting into this right now?
No, the point of it is I love you.
Your mother listens to the show.
I love you.
Yeah.
Mom, I love her. I don't touch myself.
So Richard is slow to pay back this money that he owes these guys. And one of the guys is like, "Hey, I have these mob ties." That works for this film company where he's, because they're kind of doing this porn stuff too. But Richard doesn't believe him. Richard's like, this guy's full of shit. Like, I'll pay him just enough. Like, when he starts to get antsy about the money, like, I'll give him just enough to keep him quiet. But he's, like, not paying him back the full amount that he owes him.
Oh.
So Richard's kind of dicking this guy around.
But this guy's saying, hey, I got friends. This isn't
Yeah,
cool.
you need to pay me, man. I got friends in low places. So one guy, his name is Bruno Latini, he took Richard's porno movies on consignment, then refused to give Richard the $1,500 that he owed. So Christmas Eve, Richard celebrates with his family. They have this big Vanderbilt Christmas.
Just way over the top.
Way over the top. Family. Everybody's like having a great time with Barbara's family. It's just like a nice Christmas Eve. Having a great night. So he takes his family home, tucks everyone into bed, and that's when he goes out and finds this Latini guy who still gives him the runaround about the money. And Richard's like, man, it's Christmas Eve. You owe me $1,500. Pay me what you owe me.
Just give me the money.
Well, the guy's like, no. I don't have any money. I don't have it yet. Come back in a month. Like, just dicking him around. And that's when Richard kills Latini and discovers that the guy had several $1,000s in his wallet at the time. So Richard takes his $1,500 and leaves the other money in the wallet because Richard will later say, I killed him out of principle.
So, time and again, I think these people don't realize who the fuck Richard Kuklinski truly is.
No.
He puts up this, I'm just a businessman. I'm a family guy. I'm just trying to make a few bucks on the side. But oftentimes they don't realize.
Well, he's so discreet.
Right.
It's not like he's advertising, hey, guess what? I'm a psycho killer.
Right.
Right?
But God, what a mistake to cross him.
Well, it turns out that those two porn guys that he's been working with or whatever have a silent partner that Richard didn't know anything about.
Who is mob related.
He happens to be connected to the Gambino crime family, and his name is Roy DeMeo.
Uh-oh.
Now, Roy DeMeo is a bona fide psychopath, known for dismembering victims. He has allegedly murdered probably 200 people, and nobody wants to mess with this guy.
So, now it's Richard's turn to not know the whole story in a way, and he has actually crossed... In a way, by killing this guy's partner, he's crossed this other psycho guy, Roy DeMeo.
Well, Latini wasn't really a partner of DeMeo, so Richard's been working with these two guys. I think one of them's name was like Rothberger, and the other dude, and they're the ones that are, printing all this porn and helping Richard with this wholesale consignment thing, right?
DeMeo is just like a silent investor.
He's a silent partner that Richard doesn't know about. He thinks he's just strictly working with these two knuckleheads who claim they have mafia ties, but Richard's like, they're just like a bunch of wankers. I don't believe it, whatever. But then one day he learns the lesson. So Richard is paying this minimum payment to one of the guys because, again, he's not paying the full amount. He's just handing the guy money here and there, little bits of money, just to keep him quiet. When DeMeo shows up, they have a verbal altercation about the money that Richard owes, and not realizing who this guy is, Richard has a pretty heated exchange with him. Now, DeMeo leaves, but comes back with a few other men, and they badly beat Richard. Now, he knows he can't take all of them on, so he endures this humiliating beating.
Well, and Richard's an apex predator, and I think he realizes these are other apex predators. Well, these are guys who don't mind going all the way.
Yes. So Richard vows to one day kill Roy DeMeo. But in the meantime, he has a plan. He pays the debt that he owes to these porn producers or these porn printers, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. And he ends up tracking down DeMeo at a place called the Gemini Lounge. And this is like DeMeo's hangout. Richard approaches the man with an offer. Let's work together. Now, DeMeo is impressed with the cojones on Richard to come at him alone with a proposition after DeMeo's just beat the shit out of him.
That's like something you see in a movie.
Yeah. So DeMeo's impressed. He's like, man, you got some balls coming in here.
Hey, the balls on this guy.
Yeah, right. Well, together the men agree to work the wholesale porn business together, essentially kind of cutting out these other partners. Now, after a while, Richard lets him know, I can do special work. And that's when DeMeo tests Richard. He takes him to the city. They drive around until DeMeo sees a man walking a dog. He tells Richard, shoot the guy. That's the mark. Kill him.
Just a random guy. I'm going to see if you're for real cold-blooded killer.
Yes. So Richard blows the guy away without hesitation. DeMeo calls him a stone-cold killer. A cold stone ice cream killer. No, a stone-cold killer. And that's when the pair forge this working relationship that not only includes the porn, but also contract killing. Roy, as I mentioned, he's a total fucking psycho. He butchers people inside the Gemini Lounge. They call it the slaughterhouse, jokingly. Richard will go visit him there. He'll be like decked out in an apron, covered in blood, have a guy hanging up in a shower, like laughing, like, oh, look at this guy's legs.
Jesus.
Like making jokes.
Could you imagine being around human beings like this?
DeMeo had a special autopsy kit he used to cut up bodies, and he had this method to dismember, the 5-piece method.
Okay, so we're arms, 2 legs, and a torso.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Richard is not only in the adult movie business, but he's also rented a warehouse where he's selling counterfeit jeans, handbags, perfume. Money is flowing in from various sources, and Richard is still occasionally hijacking merchandise. He's just got money everywhere, rolling in. He's like swimming in it.
I wish I had that problem.
Me too. So at home, he's spoiling his family. He takes Barbara to 5-star restaurants, drapes her in minks, diamonds. He pays for fancy dinners with their friends, thinks nothing of ordering a $500 bottle of wine, champagne.
Damn.
And Barbara's like, honey, you don't always have to pay. You know, if we go to dinner with another couple, like, we can split the bill. But
He doesn't
Richard's
care.
like, nope. It's like money is no thing to Richard. He takes his kids and their friends on trips, vacations. They move to Dumont, New Jersey, into a bigger, nicer house. They're upper middle class. But Richard is incapable of controlling his anger. He would lose his cool over the slightest annoyance, and Barbara, again, never wanted to back down. Despite his temper, she would challenge him. In an interview, their daughter Merrick would say her mother taunted and berated Richard, knowing it would make the beatings much worse.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say Barbara. Barbara's just, she's trying to survive in this relationship.
Well, that's the thing. Barbara's like, yeah, I probably did make it harder on myself, but I wanted him to know that I'm still my own person, and fuck you.
Right.
Yeah. Now, Richard told his children, if I kill mommy, I'll have to kill you too.
That's so sweet.
Now, the kids packed what they called an escape bag in case Richard did kill their mother. They would have this bag ready to grab, and they could run from the house away from their dad.
God, Jesus.
So even though Richard wasn't abusing his children, they still had this very unstable, erratic home life.
Well, that's certainly emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Right. And just living in some kind of strange fear. I mean, or just, being in close proximity to your mom and him being physical. Him beating the shit out of her is what I mean.
But then on the flip side, Richard was a good dad. As Merrick continued to suffer from health problems, Richard was always with her. He had this special bond with Merrick and never left her side. Merrick was definitely like his favorite child. Richard would show up with toys for the entire children's floor at the hospital. He would often pick up hospital bills for the poor children and was incredibly generous. There was a story of a little girl who had cancer and didn't have very long to live, and her parents couldn't afford to pay for the cable TV at the hospital. And this infuriated Richard because he's like, this child is going to be gone in a few days. This is the child's last pleasure. He tracked down the people, paid the money, and demanded, you're going to turn that kid's TV on right now.
Jesus.
So, I mean, he's very giving, and he can't stand to see kids suffering. Like, when he's at the children's ward with his daughter, and he's seeing all these sick kids, it's really heartbreaking for him. He really can't bear it. And he tries to do everything he can to, help these other children.
To alleviate their suffering as well.
So, again, it's just, he's such a complex person. Now, through DeMayo, Richard began getting steady special work as a contract killer. Being an independent contractor, he got jobs with the Pontus, de Cavalcante family, the Gambinos, the Lucchese, Colombo, Genovese, and Bonanno. I always say that.
I think it's Bonanno.
I think it's Bonanno too. Crime families. Richard was a talented hitman who earned big money for murder.
See, that's the great thing for these different branches of the mob families is he didn't come up through their ranks.
He's not Italian.
He's not
can't
Italian.
Be a made man.
He can't be made, so he's never going to get too ambitious in their mind to come up through the organization. He is not tied directly to them.
Well, and they know he doesn't have any interest in being part of their family.
Right.
He's available to do work. He gets in, makes some money, and then he's out. He's not like some hanger-on that they have to deal with.
Or some overly ambitious person who's going to threaten their position.
Right.
So Richard's actually the in their eyes,
he's
the
like the
perfect.
ideal.
Yeah.
Yep. But then the NYPD raids the film lab, seizing 250,000 adult films.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how he is. I've been thinking about this the whole time it's been growing, this bootleg empire of his. how he's pulling it off still. Because I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of copies. You got to have the tape. You got to. It takes time. The all the materials to make this stuff. How is he still bootlegging at this rate?
Well, those knuckleheads that he was kind of in business with doing this wholesale porn, I believe, are also associated with this film lab.
Okay.
So they're kind of cheating the lab. They're screwing each
They're
other
cooking
over.
the paperwork. They're
Yeah.
just fucking everything.
Now,
Okay.
once this lab is busted, raided, these items are seized, Roy DeMayo's name is being thrown around because the two main guys that he's kind of the silent partner with have both been pinched. So he's concerned. He needs somebody to take out his partners. He hires Kuklinski. Now, Richard murders the guys he's been working with, insisting it's a favor. So no money is exchanged for this hit. And this seals the deal with DeMayo.
Richard's the most stand-up guy.
Yeah.
He can totally trust him. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, Richard insists, I don't want payment for this. I'm going to kill these two guys for you. And DeMayo is just like, this man's amazing.
Well, he's a full-blown psychopath. And for him, to him, this is like really good character, for someone to do that for him.
Well, it really opens up the doors to get him in good with the Gambino crime family. I mean, before Richard was getting work with them, but after this, I mean, they just like fully embrace Richard kind of welcome him to the family, really trust him, rely on him. He becomes like their number one guy. If DeMayo, because they know DeMayo is kind of a loose cannon a bit. So if they need something done with discretion, all of that, they get Kuklinski in on the job.
Jesus.
Richard is consumed with new and interesting ways to kill a mark at this point. So he keeps a notebook writing down ideas that he comes up with, like all the ways he could kill people.
So he's killed so many people at this point. He's actually bored with it.
Yeah. He watches cartoons like the Roadrunner cartoons for inspiration.
Jesus.
The more he works, his reputation soars in the organized crime families. Richard is hired to perform hits in Wisconsin, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, California, Las Vegas, Chicago, North and South Carolina, Mississippi, Wyoming, and Arizona.
So it's just all over the country.
Yeah, Richard's fine, going away on business, goes out of town. He happens to really love Los Angeles and California, and he actually dreams one day of retiring to California, buying a house on the beach, and just giving up the life altogether.
And so you have this guy who's not connected to any of these victims in any way. He is a professional, so he's gonna stake them out and learn to be very professional with it. And there's just this random killing. Boom, he's back on the plane probably before the body's even discovered or whatever. I mean, how do you even solve that case if you're the law enforcement?
With zero forensic.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Because back then they didn't have all the DNA,
Right.
forensics. Yeah. Some bodies just lay where they fell. Others he would have crushed in car trunks, or he would toss them in bottomless pits in Pennsylvania. Some were tied up in caves and left for rats to devour.
Jesus.
A Brooklyn man owed the Bonanno family about $140,000. Richard was hired to collect, and when the guy refused to pay up, 5 members of the family requested, "We want to watch you do your work." Which Richard wasn't super comfortable with this, but he knew he couldn't say no. He shoots the man 7 times. The guy's still alive, and that's when Richard pulls out a knife and begins torturing the guy while the 5 members of the crime family are watching.
Oh, so they're like there in person. He's not videotaping it.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Bonanno family was so impressed with Richard's skill, they paid him $25,000 for this hit. He threw men from 8-story buildings. He alleged he knew what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. Everyone called him the big guy. And some people called him the Pollock, which of course Richard really did not care for that at all. But he was like a ghost. He kept his professional life separate from his personal life. No one knew where he lived. He didn't give out his phone number.
Everybody and their mamas said they know where Jimmy Hoffa's body is over the years, but I almost believe Richard just because. of who he's connected to and all that.
By fall of 1976, everything began to change. Carlo Gambino died, leaving his brother-in-law, Paul Castellano, in charge as head of the family. Now, I'm not going to get too much into all of this mafia history, but there's a lot of it that ties into Kuklinski and his ultimate downfall. So I'm going to briefly try to give you some details that might make sense.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm always gangland killings, mafia killings, all that violence is, I always find it fascinating. With the structure of the hierarchy and such. And I hope in the future we can do a series on Offbeat on mafia murders.
That'd be cool. Well, he didn't know how to handle running the family, Castellano. It was a really bad idea. Like, he was a good earner. He was like a good made man, if you will. But, like, he just was not equipped to handle running an entire organization.
Not smart enough.
No, just very sloppy. And one of his biggest mistakes was ordering the 20 captains to visit him weekly at a social club where he would hang out. Well, the FBI could easily do surveillance this way. They're catching these guys coming in, out. They know who they are. I'm imagining like the big whiteboard with the photos and like the little red yarn.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and they're in a car across the street. All they got to do is take pictures of people who's going in together and leaving together.
Oh, yeah.
And they already know your whole structure of who's what.
I mean, it makes the building a case like super easy. Well, the FBI bugged Castellano's house. And this is kind of funny, Dylan. He's having an affair with his housekeeper, and many of the intimate conversations were recorded and later released by the FBI. And in turn, Castellano became sort of the laughing stock of the mob world.
Now, you must explain why, because you had to tell me exactly why.
Well, okay. So
in a nutshell.
So in the mafia, like, it's normal for these men to have mistresses.
They call it their Goomba?
The Goomba.
Yeah, so they got their Friday night girlfriend.
Or what's his name on Jackie Abril, the Huas?
What is it? Friday nights
no,
for
it was
the
Richie. Who the Huas?
Friday nights for the wives,
and
Saturday
Saturdays
nights
for the
for the
girl.
Goomba.
Yeah.
But you keep her separate from your household.
Yeah, you do. And so the fact that he's having an affair with his housekeeper and he's fucking her in the house and sometimes his wife and kids are there is like, like, this is a fucking no-no kind of thing.
And so they hear recorded audio, basically, of him talking intimately to this housekeeper who he's fucking in his home. And that's going to make him look weak, too.
Like, hey, girl.
Hey, baby.
Well, it reminds me of in The Sopranos when Junior gets busted for performing oral sex on his girl. And then everybody's laughing at him.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's like.
Because he goes downtown. And so I totally feel like The Sopranos borrowed this. Because I guess Castellano's like doing this stuff that's kind of naughty or has some weird kinks and shit that people are like, ha ha.
I honestly believe they may have borrowed that from this real life story.
I think so. So anyway, Castellano, not a good leader. So by this time, Richard is working steadily as a hired assassin. He's fulfilling probably between 4 to 6 contracts a month. And by the late 1970s, Richard has become interested in poisons. He gets hooked up with a pharmacist who begins selling him cyanide and teaching him about it, training him. These are what you need to do. This is the dosage, that kind of thing. So in 1977, DeMeo becomes a made man, which is all he's ever wanted. Kuklinski is still working very closely with DeMeo, and some compare him to being like DeMeo's Luca Brasi.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And so this whole
you get
time,
the Godfather reference.
the FBI is basically all over the Gambino crime,
Yes.
the Gambino crime family, building their case, getting ready to basically disassemble it.
One day, DeMeo invites Richard out on his boat for fishing. Now, accepting the invitation, Richard learns they'll be fishing for sharks. DeMeo takes this group of maybe 4 or 5 guys out on the water, and once they're far enough they're out in the ocean, they spot some sharks in the water. That's when DeMeo caps one of the guys and then throws him overboard, calling him a rat. The guy's not dead, but he's bleeding. As blood fills the water, the sharks swim closer. Tons of sharks. As sharks begin eating the man, he's screaming, begging for his life. Richard is impressed, and he thinks this whole thing is hilarious. He was like, man, you really got me, man. This is really creative. This is hilarious. Why didn't I think about feeding a body to some sharks?
Yeah, what the fuck? So they're just trying to, it's almost like they're trying to impress or one up each other with ways to kill people.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Totally. And we're going to get back to, you're probably asking, well, what did this Paul Castellano thing have to do with Richard? We're going to get back into that. So despite their working relationship, Richard is determined to one day murder Roy DeMeo for that savage beating he doled out years before. Like a predator laying in wait, Richard is patient. DeMeo, now a made man, is even more bold with his murders, and he starts dealing in heroin. And this is a surefire way to get sent to prison, and most of the 5 families don't want to get too involved in drugs. Because they know if somebody gets popped for drugs, they'll make a deal, we'll all go down.
Well, in their eyes, they viewed that as for the blacks and the browns on the corner downtown to handle. It's almost like it's beneath them. And there's all these other creative ways to skim money because money's money no matter where it comes from. And they prefer to have full control of the entire scam, if you will. You know what I mean? Because if you're doing drugs, you gotta make connections with the cartel, someone out of the country, other bad people who may fuck you up. So yeah, they've always been against especially early on in the drug epidemics, against doing drugs or selling.
Yeah, at this time, they don't want to be too involved in it. DeMeo's behavior is a concern. He's, selling drugs. Most of his crew, his close crew guys or whatever, are all doing coke, using heroin.
Yeah, and they're going to fuck up.
Yeah, getting sloppy. I mean, so this is kind of a recipe for a disaster. Summer of 1979, Richard is hired to kill Carmine Galante. Known as the Cigar because he was rarely seen without a cigar, he'd been like a long career criminal in the organized crime family. Now, Galante worked for the Bonanno crime family, mostly overseeing the family's drug business through the French Connection, which is heroin smuggled through Indochina, through Turkey and France, then to the U.S. and Canada.
Ooh, famous Gene Hackman movie.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've probably seen the movie or heard of it. Check it out.
Incredible car chase scenes.
So in 1962, Galante was convicted on narcotics charges and was released finally in 1974. So he did a 12-year stint in prison. So by 1976, Galante seizes power when the mob boss Rastelli went to prison. The power grab would make him the unofficial boss of the Bonanno crime family. In order to take over a drug operation, he orders murders on 8 members of the Gambino family. The 5 New York families were alarmed at Galante's brazen attempts to take over the narcotics market. Costa Nostra leaders began meeting in secret to obtain approval for Galante's murder. On July 12th of 1979, Richard Kuklinski claims he shot Galante on an open patio lunch at Joe and Mary's Italian-American restaurant in Bushwick, Brooklyn. 3 other masked men arrived as Richard is firing the shots, and Richard makes his way out of the restaurant as these other armed guys from DeMeo's crew or whatever come in. Richard gets away unscathed, like a ghost once again, and Galante is killed. Richard is earning insane amounts of money, but he spends it as fast as he gets it, as I've mentioned before. It is on a job in New Jersey that he bumps into another guy at a hotel in a bathroom. Now, Richard makes this guy for a contract killer as well, and finds out that they're basically stalking the same mark.
This fucking guy right here. I mean, you could literally, like you said, do separate episodes on some of these side stories. And this is fucking blows my mind. This is straight out of a script of a Hollywood movie.
No. So Richard will bump into this guy again, recognizes him. The man's name is Robert Pronge. Pronge is a former Special Forces soldier who happens to drive a Mr. Softy ice cream truck.
This is amazing. And he uses that to surveil and track his targets.
Thanks for spoiler alert.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so excited about this part. You told me earlier.
Pronge is also a deranged maniac whose bloodlust rivals Kuklinski. Now, Kuklinski said of Pronge, and I quote, "He taught me a lot, but he was extremely crazy. He'd go into these neighborhoods and sell ice cream to the kids, then maybe kill one of their fathers." like Dylan just spoiled it for all of us, Prangay used the ice cream truck as a surveillance vehicle to follow around potential victims who he would kill using aerosol cyanide. And often he would remotely detonate grenades.
What's so incredible about this guy, in a way, is it's a it's a real ice cream truck. So he pulls up, and, even if you're being paranoid about someone following you shit, and then you look around and you're like, oh, what's up with this truck? And then he pulls up and the kids run up and he's out there in his little, white shirt and the hat, the little uniform, and serving up the kids. You're not going to think twice about that.
Kuklinski would learn a lot from Prangay, like more about poisons, which Kuklinski liked. Prangay would put the cyanide in like a nasal spray. That was kind of his big thing. And being a demolitions expert, he taught Richard about various bombs and explosives, how you can remotely detonate those bombs, how to do a proper car bomb, all those types of things. Now, despite Richard's mass murders without feeling, he did have that strict moral code, no women, no children. So the relationship between the two killers soured when Prangay asked Richard to murder his ex-wife and son. Richard declined the job. When Prangay began talking about plans to poison an entire water reservoir just to kill his family, Kuklinski shot him.
What the fuck?
Now, the only verification that Prangay existed is from news reports that a Robert Prangay was killed in an ice cream truck on August 9th of 1984, shot twice in the chest. The real Prangay, now deceased, was due to appear in court for bombing his ex-wife's house and making terrorist threats against her and his own child.
Well, that sounds like him, doesn't it? I mean, that sounds like the Prangay that Richard's describing his relationship with.
Exactly. So some people say that they don't think this story is real, that Richard fabricated this, or that a lot of what Richard says is bullshit. But the various authors that I've read have gone back and tried to piece together some of these stories, and often they are able to confirm stories that Richard has told them.
At least to the point of there was a person killed in that area in this manner.
Yes.
And again, I think this is a situation, him bumping into this other killer and them recognizing, literally in the bathroom, are we both killers and are we both here to kill the same guy? That's yet another thing I feel like Hollywood's borrowed from this real life story and done more than once in different movies.
Absolutely. Now, I'm skipping around a little with the timeline, but bear with me. In 1980, Richard is sent to collect on a debt. George Malibran often bought these porno videos from Richard and DeMeo wholesale. When he refuses to pay DeMeo some money that he owes, and he also owes money to loan sharks that are part of the Gambino family, Kuklinski shoots the guy. Richard stuffs him into a 55-gallon drum in Jersey City.
Another favorite method of disposal, because Richard liked it, because you could literally stick that drum anywhere in an industrial area and no one's going to think twice.
Yeah.
Or you could toss it, you can burn, whatever.
Then in 1981, a guy named Louis Masquet, who was a partner in the porn business, vanished before a business transaction was to take place. It was in September of 1983 that Masquet's body was found. He had been shot in the head, but during his autopsy, authorities determined he had ice crystals in his body tissues, leading investigators to believe he had been frozen for about 2 years before being dumped.
What the fuck?
With this murder, Richard is given the nickname the Iceman.
Yeah, I think I've talked to people before, just believed it was because he was so cold, cold-blooded or whatever. But no, literally, this is another step of depravity or just mad genius.
Well, this is a technique that he had learned from Prangay, the ice cream man.
Yeah. So
now, some people say there's no way Prangay could have been driving around in an ice cream truck with bodies in the freezer.
Right.
But
why?
Clearly, Richard got the idea from somebody.
If you're sick enough to do it, how often is if they see you're a functioning ice cream truck, and I'm sure he was able to act normal and cool to the kids and all that, who's going to search the truck?
Exactly.
Who's going to pull you over and ask anything?
In 1982, Kuklinski joined these two guys, Dan Deppner and Gary Smith, in an auto theft scam. And Roy DeMeo was also in with this. They had police on the payroll that would give them these authentic VIN numbers, but they were like forged. I mean, they were like authentic, but they, of course, were like forged paperwork and shit.
They would put it on another vehicle, maybe.
Yeah.
Or something.
So Richard soon realized that these two men were inept criminals, and self-preservation was always Richard's top priority, right? So this led him to the conclusion, like, he has to get rid of these guys before he ends up in jail. In a New Jersey motel room, Richard poisons a hamburger that he was giving to this guy Smith. When the guy died, Richard stuffed his body under the motel bed, and it was 4 days later before it was found, even though other guests had rented it in the meantime. So you've got a family in this motel room on vacation hanging out, and there's a dead body under the bed. Can you imagine?
I could not imagine.
Yeah.
I could not imagine that. I mean, that's horrible.
Yeah. that would
Especially
be
if they realize,
fucking traumatic.
if they stayed, came and went, and never knew what they were near or what happened, then that would be a little bit better. But just if they knew after that they had been there a day or two, oh Jesus!
Well, that seems like it might be the case that they
Like they discovered the
it,
body,
like,
maybe.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
In May of 1983, a plastic bag containing Deppner's body was found in a wooded area. Law enforcement concluded he was likely poisoned with cyanide. Now we're back to Phil Salamine, who was Richard's only true friend, the guy he had sold those Casio watches to when the other dude like screwed him over. So one day, Salamine let it slip to his brother-in-law, a guy named Percy House, that Richard had murdered Louis Masquet. House had gotten into trouble with the law over that auto theft ring because Salamine, Percy House, they're kind of all involved in this to some extent. So House gets in trouble with the law. He decides he's going to spill the beans about the murders. Like, he knows this Louis Masquet was murdered by Kuklinski.
Oh shit!
He was involved in the auto theft ring with Smith and Deppner. He starts spilling the beans, and that is when a federal sting operation begins. An operative named Dominic Polifrone was sent undercover to nab Richard Kuklinski. When Richard slipped up and explained how to murder someone with cyanide, the multi-agency sting operation had enough evidence to arrest him.
No, that was it.
This guy spends 18 months undercover, getting in with this group, with this auto theft ring, befriends Kuklinski, starts talking to him about the special work that he's doing, tell me all about the poisons. It all starts to come out.
Wow.
Then the guy hires Richard to murder a fictitious man while he's undercover, and that is how they nab Kuklinski.
So they're like, hey, got this guy, got a problem with him. I know that you do special work. I need some help. And it's the old same song and dance where they got it's really the cops, the high. Yeah, okay. Damn.
In 1986, Richard was arrested and charged with 5 murders. Kuklinski was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms. In 2003, Richard entered a guilty plea on the 1980 murder of a police officer named Peter Calabro, who had been on DeMeo's payroll. While incarcerated at Trenton State Prison, Kuklinski sat down for multiple interviews and 3 television documentaries. In 1993, Barbara finally divorced her husband, though she continued to visit him in prison. Richard died on March 5th of 2006.
Fuck.
Now let's get into this a little bit more. Okay, bringing it all back around. So Roy DeMeo was killed on January 10th of 1983 in Brooklyn. Due to the enormous number of missing and murdered people linked to DeMeo and the Gemini Lounge, as I mentioned, the FBI bugged Paul Castellano's home. So the FBI overheard all of these conversations that were taking place in Castellano's home. And remember, Castellano is in charge of the Gambino crime family at this point. But he's a very poor leader of the family. Well, the FBI overheard a conversation in which a captain named Angelo Ruggero told Gene Gotti, who happens to be John Gotti's brother, that Paul Castellano had put a hit out on Roy DeMeo. However, he was having a hard time finding anyone willing to take out the psychopath because everybody was afraid of DeMeo. Crazy, crazy fuck.
How crazy are you when you scare the rest of the psychopaths?
Yeah. Well, at the time, and this is recorded on the phone call, Gene Gotti is saying, well, my brother John Gotti has only killed about 10 people. And he's pretty weary of killing DeMeo. Like, he doesn't think he's ready to do that. Frank DeChico was hired to do the job, another hitman, but it was eventually passed off to DeMeo's own crew. So in his final days, DeMeo was aware that he was a dead man walking. On the day he was killed, Roy DeMeo attended a meeting at one of his crew members, a guy named Patty Testa's house, but then he didn't show up for his daughter's birthday party that evening. And his family pretty much knew he's gone.
Right.
We didn't come home. About 10 days later, DeMeo's Cadillac was found in the parking lot of a boat club. When it was towed to the police station, detectives found DeMeo's partially frozen body in the trunk with a chandelier placed on top of it.
What the hell, dude?
He had been shot multiple times. Castellano was indicted for ordering the hit. Now, when he was awaiting trial, John Gotti ordered a hit on him. So Castellano was killed December of 1985.
The fuck? So is this what brings Gotti down? Or is this what, the beginning
I think
of...
this is the beginning.
Oh, wow,
And like
dude.
I said, we're not going to get into all that mafia
No,
stuff. There's
dude.
so much of it. Now, some people say that they don't think that Kuklinski had anything to do with DeMeo's murder. Like, some of these special agents in interviews are like, oh, we don't think he had anything to do with DeMeo's murder. But Kuklinski is like, I did it, and his body was partially frozen in the trunk of a car.
I don't know what to say.
That's a signature Kuklinski move, right?
Well, I'm saying he gets it. He kills someone. He freezes the body so he can, dispose of it at a certain whenever he wants at his convenience. And it also throws investigators off of time of death. All this stuff. It's pretty ingenious in a way, even though it's horrible. And I mean, what can you say? Kuklinski's saying he did do it. He's killed. Fuck. You described him murdering 30 or 40 people easy. And the body, it looks like he may have done it.
Well, the special agent Dominic Proliferone or whatever says he thinks Kuklinski probably only murdered these 5 people and that the rest is all just fabrications and lies because there hasn't been any other mafia people come out and talk about Richard, and these true crime writers don't ever mention him in books and shit. But my thing is, if Kuklinski was as discreet as he claims he was, and these people he was working with are pretty much all dead at this point,
basically,
then how do you know he didn't do all these things?
And the mob code, even though you do have some that flip and tell all, many, even after they get arrested or anything like that, they're not going to talk. That code of silence.
Right.
And also, like you said, with the discretion, and some of these people, if it came out that they did get Richard to kill, subject A, they would get in trouble because who knows if the guy's maid, connected, somebody's nephew, whatever. So, I mean, there's a million reasons why you haven't heard other people talk about this.
There could potentially be reasons why.
Yeah.
Now, everybody has an opinion about Kuklinski. Some people think that he's just full of shit. He's like a big blowhard. Other people are like, nah, I think he really did all this shit. So.
What do you think?
I think he did it.
I think he did it. If and maybe it left an impression on me because I was fairly young when I was exposed to
the HBO documentaries.
The HBO documentaries and stuff. And but that seemed like the coldest fucking person I'd ever seen. And he seemed genuine. Is he exaggerating some things and all that? Yeah, killers tend to do that because even though he's a contract killer, he's just a serial killer, right? He's no different than the other monsters. Just because he did it for money, it doesn't make it any...
but he did it for fun, too. He would do it if he felt like somebody was disrespecting him.
I'm saying he just
especially in the early days.
Generating money is something almost that he figured out he could do later on after he already started killing people.
Yeah, I think he liked killing people, and he realized I could make money doing this. I'm good at it.
And it's not uncommon for these types of personalities to, bloviate or expand their legend with lies. So that's not an impossibility. And maybe some of it's not true, but I think he's a cold-blooded fucking killer.
I agree.
And he's a monster, and it's strangely, you almost feel like you're pulling for Richard, in the story. I kind of felt that way, like, oh shit, they got him, but you can't lose sight that he is a monster. He's a horrible person, and he was, horrible to his family and his wife and his various wives and all the abuse, the miscarriages, and just evil man.
Well, I think for me, as a true crime fan, obviously, I love the true crime, and it's all the parts I like about it all boils down to the psychology of it. And I just think that Kuklinski, despite whether you think he's lame or whatever, he's an interesting case study because he's such a complex person, and there are these two Richards, and it's just so mind-blowing to me how someone can be such an ice cold killer, horrible fucking psychopath,
And still,
no remorse, but still also have this moral code and tries damnedest to protect kids, to be a good dad as much as he could be.
It seems genuine in his own weird way. And I would say the other one that sticks out for me is Dennis Rader. I hate fucking Rader, BTK, bind, torture, killer, because he's such a fucking narcissistic asshole. But he did that. So he did that same thing effectively. He had these two lives. I mean, this guy would stalk his victims for months and set up these elaborate, binding scenarios and kill them in such strange fucking ways. But then, go home or go to a church service and be a pillar of the community. And those people, because I think some of these, like Ted Bundy was a good example of someone who he could fake out a date or a girlfriend, but he was fighting his own he was almost out of control all the time. He could bring down this mask of calm, cute, charismatic, whatever, but it was very brief, it seems like. It seems like his own inner demons were constantly a struggle for the other Ted, as he called it, was a constant struggle for him. He was a little more out of control. But these people like Rader and Kuklinski, it's just, it's
so calculated.
Yes. And controlled.
Cool as a cucumber.
Yes.
That is the part to me that is so fucking frightening and also interesting.
It is. It's sad and scary.
I'm fascinated by it.
Right. That's the true crime lovers in us.
Yeah. Well, resources for today's show, for the past two episodes, the Iceman Confessions, the Iceman Confessions of a Mafia Contract Killer by Philip Carlo. Amazing read. I popped it right on my Kindle, downloaded it. Excellent resource if you want to read more on Kuklinski. Like I said, there is so much. I tried to condense it down, some of the more interesting parts, to give you an overview of the man. There's also The Iceman by Anthony Bruno. And of course, lots and lots of interviews and documentaries out there, especially the HBO documentaries. I think there's the 3. You can find interviews with Kuklinski on YouTube. It's fascinating. I don't recommend watching the movie The Iceman with Michael Shannon, Winona Ryder, because it's trash and it's not a very good depiction of the true Iceman.
No, you can watch it out of curiosity, but if you're trying to learn more about the Iceman or anything like that, it's just a waste of time.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Of course, if you have any feedback, questions, you got a case suggestion, you just want to say hey, drop us an email, mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you guys.
Yes, and if you don't mind, just hit that subscribe button. That's one little tiny small thing. It only takes a second to do. You're going to listen anyway. Go ahead and punch that button. Punch me right in the button.
And we appreciate those wonderful reviews. We've gotten probably 4 or 5 in the last week. Love those. We appreciate them. If you want to drop us a 5-star, man, we like those. But makes us feel good.
Yes, and I'd like to thank Stephanie for this case suggestion, our patron, and it was very, very fun to talk about. I enjoyed the two-part series, and we have a lot of other great cases coming up from other patrons.
We sure do. August is an exciting month, and we'll be back on Wednesday with a brand new offbeat. So I guess keep it cool like the Iceman until then, but don't go around murdering anybody and shoving them in a cave and letting rats eat them.
It's true.
Okay.